All right. All right. All right. We're live everywhere. If you're tuning in later when we are not actually live, make sure to just skip ahead to about the 2 minute mark. That's when we're actually going to get into it. Today, we are going to be talking about your why. We are going to be talking about your reasoning behind the training you're doing. We're going to be talking about why it is you do what you do, why it is you're passionate about doing what you do, and how to get more clear on that if you don't have a clear answer for that right now, because I know a lot of you out there don't. I know that was me for a long time. That was actually something that I learned a lot about today. And so I'm going to share a little bit of that while we talk. And I'm going to be digging into a little bit more about how you guys can find that same kind of clarity. So we're going to get into it in about a minute. If you've tuned into the show before, make sure that you are checking it out on the website, www.elitedevelopmentpodcast.ca, as well as all the major podcast platforms out there. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find our show. And you know the deal, you know why we're here, you know what we're doing. So if you have tuned in before and you've gotten some value from the show, I ask that you share the stream right now with a friend, with a teammate, with a coach, with someone who is going to need to hear this message. And we're going to get into it in about 30 seconds. I see a few people coming on. I appreciate you all taking some time to be here, taking some time to tune in. If you're an athlete, I would love to know what you have coming up right now. What kind of competitions are you doing? What do you have coming up, and what are you struggling with? Our goal here is to help you. And the best way we do that is if we hear more about what it is you're actually struggling with. So drop that in a comment. Let me know what it is you're struggling with, what it is you'd like to hear more about. But for now, let's get into the show. So, we're going to be talking about your why, your reason for doing what you do. And we're going to get into it here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the number one show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponent and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we're going to be talking about your why. Now, why did I want to bring this topic to you? The reason that I wanted to get into this today, the reason I wanted to dig into why it is you do what you do, is because that was something that I dug into today for myself. This is something that has been on my mind and something that's been asked of me many, many, many times since I started coaching 15 years ago. And today was the first real time that I found some clarity on it. So I wanted to dig into that a little bit and then dig into why that's so important for you to have as well. So right now I'm actually in Kelowna, BC at a business coaching conference with PT Domination, the best business coaching program on the market. If you are a coach of any kind, let me know in the comments and I will get you connected with them too. And one of the speeches today was talking about the importance of your why. One of the speeches today was talking about the importance on getting clear about not what it is you do, not how it is you do it, but why you do it. So I talk to a lot of athletes out there that when I ask about their goals, they say, I want to be a UFC champion. I want to turn pro. I want to make this my career. I want this. I want that. But then when I ask them, why do you want to do that? Oh, it's because I love it. And that was my answer for a long time too. So for a long time, when I heard that answer, I wouldn't dig any deeper. But after today, I've realized how much more important it is to dig deeper into that question. Because we were talking about that in one of the speeches, like I mentioned, and it finally clicked to me. I've been coaching for 15 years, and it finally clicked to me why this job is so important to me, why I love this job so much. See, as I was growing up, I was told all the time, to basically just fly under the radar. I remember being told when I was trying out for a higher level hockey team, don't get your hopes up too high in case you don't make it. I remember talking about wanting to run a gym for the first time and being met with the energy of, if you do that, you're going to end up working the front desk at a good life somewhere and you're never going to amount to anything. I remember so many times in my life having an idea or having an ambition or having a thought and kind of being met with the energy of like, well, don't do that because that'll be hard. Just, do this easy stuff instead. And like, that's all well and good if that's what you want to do. But for me, that wasn't what resonated with me. And I never put this together before today, but what that led to was that led to many years of me not wanting to live, me not wanting to pursue life because I was going to work some job I didn't really want. I was going to work at school that I didn't really like going to get into university that I didn't really want to get into, to spend a lot of money to take 4 years of courses that I didn't really want to take, to get a job I didn't really want to work, to work for 40 years doing something I didn't really like to do, clocking in and clocking out just to retire. Like, that didn't sound like enough. That didn't sound like something that I wanted to do. So if you're an athlete right now listening to that and thinking, I want to be an athlete because I want to get out of, that like 9 to 5 rat race, or whatever it is whatever it is you're thinking, you want to get out of that 9 to 5 rat race. You want to, do something you truly love and are passionate about, instead of, some job you don't really want. This is going to be a great episode for you. So the reason that my why was so important to me, and what I was able to uncover today, was that having all that time growing up, every time I had an ambition, kind of being met with the energy of, don't strive for that, because what if you fail, and that, it's going to hurt if you don't make it, led me to believe that the right way to live life was to just float under the radar. The right way to live life was to just kind of go through life doing what you're supposed to do, not really get noticed, and then eventually just die. And that didn't feel like enough, which led me down a bad path. And it wasn't until I was able to really get clear on what I wanted to do that allowed me to get off of that path and allowed me to truly pursue it with the passion and the energy and the intensity that I wanted to bring to this career all along, allowed me to truly go all in on this career all along. And so if you're an athlete right now, let me know if you resonate with that. Let me know if you resonate with that feeling, like, your friends, your family, coworkers, classmates, wherever you're at in life, hear about your sport goals, hear about the goals that you have for your career, and laugh, or hear about those goals and think, oh, come on, give up on that, go do something easier. You're never going to make it at that anyway. And let me know if that stops you from putting everything you can into that goal. Let me know if that stops you from truly believing in yourself and believing in your ability to achieve that goal. Because if it does, and you really don't see yourself achieving those things you want to achieve, you're not going to put those extra hours in. You're not going to put that extra time in. You're not going to make those extra sacrifices, because you don't see yourself there anyway. And that was me for a really long time with coaching. So what I realized is that why I love doing this so much, why I love this career as much as I do, is because I grew up my whole life basically being met with the energy that my goals weren't realistic, that what I wanted to do wasn't realistic. And I allowed that to push me off that path. I allowed that to push me down the path of, go get the shitty job you don't want for the mediocre salary to live your life not happy but not miserable, and then eventually die. And me being able to actually decide and make the decision for myself after so many years to say, screw it, I'm going all in on what I actually want, allowed me to reach heights higher than I could have imagined, but also allowed me to be happy, allowed me to actually enjoy my life, allowed me to actually wake up with purpose every day. So if you're an athlete right now and you're sitting here and you're thinking, I want to make it as a UFC fighter because, that would be a cool way to make a living. And, yeah, think about why that would be a cool way to make a living. Think about what you're getting away from. Think about what your life looks like without that. Think about all the factors. Think about every little thing that goes into becoming that athlete. And if you can think about all of those things, if you can think about what your life looks without accomplishing those goals, if you can think about what your life looks if you're not grinding as hard as you need to, now that can be the switch from being the guy who kind of wants to maybe try to make something out of this sport, or the guy who's going all fucking in, and in turn giving themselves a way better chance to be successful. So my why as a coach, what I want to do is I want to be the person that is going to give athletes permission to go all in on themselves. I want to be the person, when you're met with that negative ass energy from your friends and your family, I want to be that person to say, no, fuck them. and actually encourage you to look at what you can want to do with your life and actually help you guide you in the direction you need to go in order to achieve it. Because that's not something I had growing up. And I'm not sitting here saying that I would have been, the best athlete out there or anything if I did have that. But not having had that led me down a bad path. Not having had that led me down to a path of abusing my body, of drinking all the time, of not taking care of myself, of not really, you developing to the highest level that I could develop to because I didn't believe that what I wanted was possible. Because I didn't have somebody saying, that's a good idea. You should go for that. You should push for that. And it was up to me to finally realize that this was something that I could push for. So for you guys out there, I know athletes deal with that all the time. I know you guys have heard from family members, you guys have heard from friends, you guys have heard from whoever that, oh, you're not going to make it at that anyway. Oh, you mean, well, what do you want to do once you're done with sport? All these questions that make you sort of say, what's so unrealistic? Why do you not think I can do it? Maybe I can't do it. But all these questions that make you question yourself. And so, what I want to be able to bring to you, what I want to be able to bring to all of you, what my real purpose is as a coach, I'm finally realizing is not just to provide strength and conditioning work, not just to provide the training that I know is already benefiting athletes around the world, but to go a level deeper and to actually provide you the permission to set aside the opinions of your family members, set aside the opinions of your friends, set aside all of this negative shit that I know you face and actually put the focus and actually put the energy and actually put the intensity into the goals you want to achieve. Because if you have that and you have that self belief and you have someone promoting that self belief within you as well, now you know that mentally and physically you have what it takes to put yourself in the best position in order to be successful. We can build clarity as far as what being successful actually means in the sport. Not only can you build clarity as far as what that means, but you can actually build a path in order to be successful at it. Instead of the path you're taking right now, which is work for a while and then get tired out and then wonder if you're ever going to make it anyway, and then listen to your parents who are telling you that it's not that good of an idea to pursue, and then kind of repeat that cycle and never really make it anywhere. This can be your permission. This can be the moment that you say, you know what, I need to give this a shot. I'm not just give this a shot, but give it the best shot that I can give it. Invest in myself, invest in my future. And instead of looking at it as a career in the UFC, or instead of looking at it as a career competing in a sport, start looking at it as a career being able to live the life you want. Start looking at it as getting away from that shitty 9 to 5 job. Start looking at it for what it truly is, which is a life, not just a career, or not just an opportunity. So, how do we find the why? How do you dig past that surface level of? Now, the first thing on how to find your why, the first thing on how to dig past that surface level accomplishment is to just continue to ask the question. You want to make it to the UFC. Why? Well, because I want a career doing something I love instead of a career doing something I hate. Why do you want a career doing something you love instead of something you hate? Did you watch your parents spend their lives doing something that they hated and you want to set a better example for your kid? Did you work with an older person that was stuck in a job that they hated and saw what that was doing to them and their family and decide that you didn't want to be that guy for them? Did your family struggle with money and you want to be the light that can bring your family out of those struggles and change their future and change their lives? Why is it that you want it, that you do what you want to do? Why is it that you do what you do? And the deeper you can dig into that question, the clearer you can make that answer. And the clearer you can make that answer, the harder you're going to work on those days you don't want to. Those days where you wake up and say, "Oh my God, I don't want to train today," but you know you should, instead of saying, "Oh, it's okay, I'll just get to it tomorrow," you're going to get to the gym. On those days where you know you should be recovering and you're saying, I'm just going to go in and do a little bit anyway, you know that the best benefit you're going to get is recovering that day, and you're actually going to take it instead of ruining your progress by training on the days you shouldn't. You're going to learn to take your shit more seriously, which doesn't mean training hard, because I know you're training hard already. If you're in this sport, you're training hard. So I know you're training hard already. So what I'm saying here is not learn to train hard. What I'm saying here is learn to train like a pro, learn to become a professional in every area so that you can actually become one, and so that you can actually make this into your career. And the deeper and clearer that why is, the next thing that I want you to do, the second thing on this list, is going to be write it down. Because that's something that happened to me over the years, was this why would kind of come in and out, and I would have bits and pieces of it, but then somebody would ask me and I'd kind of forget. So as soon as I'm back from this event, I'm putting that fully written out why up on the wall in my office so that I can look at it every day. So that every single day it never fades. It's always top of mind. And I always understand that I am here to give athletes the permission that I never had to go all in on themselves. And the more and more and more I look at that, and the clearer and clearer and clearer I become on that, the better and better and better I'm going to be able to do that for you. The better and better and better I'm going to be able to bring that energy to you all. And so that is what I want you guys to do today. As soon as you listen to this, sit down, figure it out, ask yourself why, continue to ask the question, and in turn, as it becomes clearer, put it on paper so you can see it every day. Because the clearer it becomes, the clearer you can make the path. The clearer you can make the path, the more you're going to be willing to put into it. And the more you're willing to put into it, the better chance you have of actually achieving it. So that is it. That is all. I appreciate you taking the time to come in and join me, those who did, and those listening back on the podcast, watching on the YouTube channel, whatever else it might be. I appreciate you as well. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night. And my one ask of you, if you've tuned into the show before and you've gotten value from it, or if you got value from this episode tonight, make sure to share this show with a friend, share this show with a teammate, share this show with someone who needs to hear the message. We grow shows like this, we grow these smaller podcasts through word of mouth, and that comes from you. So all of you who share the show, all of you who write the reviews, who send the comments, who send the DMs, just know I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all of that. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to you all again soon.